Hello, 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 and welcome to another exciting episode of No Particular Reason. I am your host, Yanko, and this is episode 97. And I'm glad I'm back in a car fully from last weekend. Apologize, we couldn't go live. Kerri had something going on, and I didn't feel well. I had to get over a cold, which I feel much, much better now, as you can see, and I look better. So here we are in another episode. Kerri will be absent today again, and possibly next week because she has something going on. And I'm sure she'll share when she's back. So you have me for this episode. So let's begin and see what we can think about and talk about. As usual, this is the show that happens for no particular reason. We just show up, talk about different things, topics, vibe with our followers, people that watch us, and join us in the live. And as usual, I invite anybody that's watching live and likes to jump in and ask question or um, just vibe with us or me today to participate. That'll be today. I have something that I thought about. I'll talk about in the topic of the stream today will be you can't outthink the subconscious mind. So I thought this will be a good topic to talk about. And without further ado, let me begin. And I'll start by telling you that if you think harder worked, you already be free, or at least you'll have the illusion to be free of thoughts in like most people do. And this is why a lot of the Eastern practices talk about contemplation, meditation, and things like that. Most people try to solve emotional problems by thinking harder, which usually doesn't work and it doesn't end up good. And the reason is because emotion usually overrides logic. When you're in the emotion in the middle of something going on, that shuts down the logic, and this is part of our survival fly, fight, freeze mode, which we inherit from our ancestors in case that animal tried to attack us. Then we run. We run for our life. Logic turns off. You don't you don't simply sit and contemplate and think harder. What should I do in this situation? But logic feels safer and familiar and socially rewarding because it keeps you busy. It keeps your mind going and analyzing and gives you this um, comfort of knowing or sense of control, which I've done talks before of uh, the illusion of being in control or the illusion of control that most people have. That you have that perception that you're in control, but speaking most of the time, and I can speak about myself. Everything comes from previous experiences and patterns. In yet the same patterns keep repeating. When something is familiar because it's something um, that isn't a failure. It's mismatched tools. Like how do you cope in a different situation? And I'll give you a couple of example of like what actually consciousness mind it's good for. It's good for planning. You can plan and do different things, but as most of you know, probably, and I like to use that saying a lot of the times, the map it's not the territory. Here, good morning, Bonnie. You're back and you like my background. I like my background too. I like to spice it up a little bit. I hope it's not too busy and grabs everyone's attention, but we'll see how it goes. I'm glad you're here and welcome. So, to circle back to what I was saying, Conscious is good for planning. You plan, but I was gonna say to map, it's not the territory. You have some kind of plan that you plan with, but most of the times, or well, I'd say maybe 50-50 time, 50% of the time it'll work. Comparing, it's also good for if you compare different things, analyzing, mm, explaining, um, and making sense. Often something happen, kind of like connecting the dots and making sense of different things. In the conscious mind, it's good as a narrator, not the driver. It's there most of the time, and it's mostly pronounced in some people where they have too much going on inside their head, repeating, going and keep repeating itself. It's not a driver. Most of the stuff happens consciously, and that brings me back to what I was saying earlier, that you have the sense of control that gives you like, oh, I planned it, I did this and everything else. But when the moment comes, we act unconsciously based on previous experiences. So whatever it's stored deep inside, and it's also excellent at stories. um, Not at changing emotional patterns. That's for sure. It'll give you all kinds of stories. um, it'll tell you why it's not good to meditate, because you can be so much more productive instead of sitting in a one spot with your eyes closed. That's for sure. I remember the days when I was meditating, and that was happening in the beginning of being productive, of sitting in a one spot and with your eyes closed and not doing anything. Oh my God, that was just horrible for my conscious mind. And compare this with what the subconscious um, does and actually runs. It's emotional responses. When something happens and you connect it to a previous experience, emotion arises. So response, habits and routines, like patterns. Give that example with animals. A lot of the times when animals roam around the forest, they don't make their own path every time. They choose paths that are already being established, because that saves them energy. And same applies for subconscious. If there is a quicker path in between 2 points, or something as a habit that you've done, it'll just go with it, run in, and not even think about it. Some people, and I've seen that some people, and I don't remember, there was, I would say, a colleague call it a click run, almost like how you click and run a command in your computer. You click runs and the habit goes. So that's actually what it's good at. And also automatic reactions in situations, um, body responses, like you might do if you're mad at somebody, shrink your brows or something like that. That happens subconsciously, almost automatically. Um, in identity, um, level beliefs of like, oh, you establish something and you think that it is, and that's actually something that comes from the subconscious. Um, in and it's kind of interesting, because by the time you're thinking, the subconscious already made a decision of what to do. uh, and then you have the illusion of control. Well, if I think hard enough or something, that'll give me the result I'm looking for. But most of the cases, you're just reacting in situations. So this is why it's good. Again, I'm repeating myself, but you know, knowing yourself, sitting with yourself, looking at like what patterns are coming up when you're sitting in silence or just being in yourself. Or if you have this observer mindset where you kind of like, here's the body and there's the looker looking through your eyeballs and looking at the situation of what's going on, not judging, just perceiving of what's going on, that kind of mindset of like just I'm just looking and seeing what's going on. And and I'll tell you why thinking feels like control but isn't. Like I already started to talk about it. um, the thinking process creates the illusion of agency. It gives you this like, oh, like I'm productive again, going back to the productive thing, like I'm doing something. Um, and also the process of analyzing something delays the feeling off of it, because you're grabbing your attention until the feeling overtakes and cuts down that thinking process. um, Again, depends on the situation and how everyone is in different situations. People respond differently. You might just freeze, which is part of fly fight freeze. um, that's inherent in everyone. um, and explaining feels safer than presence. you know if if you have explanation, you kind of feel like, yeah, I have that sense of like I know, instead of being in the moment, being present of what's going on. um, and the bottom line is that thinking keeps you busy, so you don't have to feel a thing. So this is why usually thinking feels like a control, but it's actually not. um, and I'll tell you how that turns into um, patterns from without permission, um, from early emotional experiences, um, that creates a memory that goes in and connects with the emotion. Um, Again, emotion overrides the logic, but once it's created and it's in the subconscious, then it becomes like a program, like a habit. Especially if there is repetition with emotion. If you're getting exposed to the same thing over and over and over. Also, survival based conclusions can create um, patterns without permission, because you're in survival mode. Um, and then your identity solidifies um, around those as a protection. You create this idea of like the character that you have. And again, this is my view on how I think and I see things, and I just share with you. It doesn't mean that you should take it as advice, because I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not a licensed doctor, or none of that stuff. Uh, make your own decisions when you listen to what I'm saying. Um, so yeah, and the subconscious doesn't change the patterns; it learns them. So, and that might go into some of the texts that I've been reading about Neville Goddard. He always emphasized that feeling it's the key to whatever you want to manifest or whatever you want to um, get in the subconscious mind. Um, The subconscious doesn't choose the pattern, it just learns it. So if you connect it with emotion and you create it, then it just accepts it. It learns it. Like you can learn anything. So that points me back to why insight about oneself alone doesn't change one's behavior. Why people understand their patterns, but they still repeat them all the time. They see, oh, I've done this, but then the automatic, like a knee jerk reaction comes in, and they respond to whatever it's happening. Um, and that's because awareness without embodiments, these just intellectual concept. You learn something in your conscious mind, but without integration or embodiment, it's just that. It's like, and I like to tell that story when that comes in mind, about some guy that was sick and went to the doctor, and doctor sees him and gives him a prescription and says, okay, here you go, that will fix you. And then he comes back a couple of days later or a week later and says, doctor, nothing's happening, I'm still sick, I'm not getting healed. And the doctor says, well, I give you the prescription. It says, yeah, I read the prescription every day. I keep reading it, but nothing's happening. So I figure I'll share that one with you. It always brings me a kick out of that. So awareness without embodiment just tells an like intellectual concept that it just sits in your mind. Um, in the subconscious doesn't respond to explanations because, again, a lot of that stuff, it's filling images, emotions, not logic. Logic, it's on the other side of the brain. Left side of the brain, not the right side. We have analysis, language, things like that. It responds to safety and presence, and experience. Being in the moment, experiencing what's happening. Um, and then experience from sensation without insight comes after the change, not before. So yeah. And again, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll love to chat with you and make this more interactive instead of just me talking. It's a lot more entertaining. Plus, he helps me with my morning coffee. Mm. Yeah. So let's see. So that brings me back to my favorite topic of hypnosis as a different doorway. And it is why I like hypnosis. The hypnosis doesn't argue with the subconscious mind. It bypasses the need to convey, and it slows down the system. Um, so there is chance for that embodiment to happen. It creates the space um, where new response can emerge instead of just having that knee-jerk reaction. And to clarify, I mean, I talked about that before, but hypnosis is not about control. It's not about access. I probably do a whole different live stream site from this no particular reason show where I'll talk about and clarify some misconceptions and misunderstandings about what hypnosis is and what is not. But that's not what it is. Hypnosis could be used as a tool in situations like that, where you have the awareness, you have the aha moment, but you haven't had the chance to embody it and give it the proper amount of time for a new response to emerge from whatever the situation, whatever that situation is. So, in and I talk about that in my previous life when I talked about self hypnosis and how being in the moment and using the body as an instrument to um, help you get in that outer state of mind can open that window of opportunity for new responses that emerge. Um, and so the moment people stop overthinking, um, magical things happen. Um, have you noticed any, and I'll ask you this, if you noticed any reoccurring emotional patterns on yourselves? Um, and have you noticed what the body does when you think about it? Like the emotion when it arises, and what does the body do? And and I want to point out that you can quickly sense that sensation that appears when that happens. Um, and usually that happens before the thought finish. And that could probably be like a good aha moment for you. Oh, thanks, Bonnie. It's always good to have smoothies in the morning. I'm the coffee guy, just having a good old coffee in the morning. So, yeah. Mm. I'm gonna apologize because I don't know if you're aware. Maybe this is your first time, watching somebody live. Usually, I get about a minute or so delay of after you typing the comment in until I get it. So I might be slow to respond, or maybe when I respond, it could be out of context because I'm already on a different topic. So, but Bonnie knows that she's one of our regulars. Thanks, Bonnie. If you want to share something else, Bonnie, feel free to do so. And anybody else, like I said, here to answer any questions and talk about different things. We don't have a specific topic anytime. This is why the show it's called No Particular Reason. We talk about consciousness, emotional balance, love, different things like that. And sometimes we got different guests. And let me run the banner. The show airs every Friday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and 7 Pacific time. And me had me today. So that's about it. And with that, let me go back to what I was talking about. Hmm. So I'm going to talk about some common mistakes that people might do. Um, they try to fix the subconscious mind, which is kind of like counterproductive. It's almost like, and I'm sure everyone had that once in a while in their lifetime where they're laying in bed and they're trying so hard to fall asleep. And the more they try, the harder it gets until they get tired of trying and they give up trying. And then the magic happens and they fell asleep. So, one of the common mistakes to fixing the subconscious, it's by trying the same way you try to fall asleep. It never, it never works. You have to fighting thoughts. Um, and that brings me an image of the Eastern bull with the rider that is trying to, right the mind, where the bullet's the mind, that it's, the subconscious mind, it's out of control, and he's trying to make it peaceful. And the first stage of, any kind of practice of self-realization, or, simply getting to know oneself. Um, Replacing beliefs too early could also be a mistake. Um, because that hasn't been embodied yet. And you simply sitting and you're doing affirmations, although it works for some people, but you go like, and I'll give you an example. If you want to be prosperous and you go and you say to yourself, money flow to me in any direction all the time. I have abundance of money. And then the subconscious mind goes, no, you don't. So it's kind of funny. Um, and in using positivity to overthink discomfort, could also be a mistake. Anything to do with you involved in the whole process, it's usually throwing the whole process off. You kind of getting in your own way. Um, it's simply um, you can't dominate a system that it's designed to protect you. you know because that's usually the bottom line. So, and this is why I said that before, and I'm sure I'm repeating myself, but I'll say it again. It's good to just be present and not get in your own way with there's thoughts. Oh, okay, there's thoughts. I'm just with my thoughts, and that's okay. You don't have to act on the thought or emotions. You can just let them run their course, and they'll exhaust the power behind, and they'll be gone. The same way they came in, they'll just be gone. Um, Slowing down can actually work instead of thinking. Um, like I talked about in the previous episode, feeling inside, feeling without narrating it. Let's put it that way. Um, Noticing without correcting. Just like, oh, okay. Um, in allowing the emotional wave to complete, not trying to press it down or suppress it or do whatever you usually do as a knee jerk reaction, as most people do. Sometimes they just react in the moment. So that could actually work instead of thinking, because subconscious changes to the experience, not um, instructions, not by telling it. Again, as that example I was giving earlier, I'm abandoned. I have money coming, and the subconscious mind says, "No, you don't. You haven't paid your bill, or whatever." So, but to circle back, you know, in the outer state, say in trance state, um, I intermix those with hypnosis a lot of the times. That that allows it to happen because you're creating it inside, and that also makes the body sense it because it recalls the feeling attached to something. An example will be like if you think about a lemon, you might start salivate because you have the thought, but that's also connected to the experience of eating lemon, and that comes from the subconscious mind. And then the body reacts, and you have the embodiment like it actually happens. Um, because there's no difference between that in the actual experience of eating the lemon. So in a way, once you experience it, it becomes true because the body embodies it. And I'll give you an example sometimes, and this pops up in my mind. It's with people that are into sports and they enhance sports with hypnosis. What they do, usually when they go to see the hypnotist or the specialist, they um, they help them in the trance state. And if they are to do, say, a long jump, they practice that in their body in the outer state where the body embodies it because of the thought and how it creates it, and it actually changes that for them, and they have that embodiment of the experience of what it feels like through the different stages to do the long jump. And then the more they do it, the better they get, because it's like you creating a new habit. It keeps happening, but it also relieves in the body, and the body knows the feeling, and it becomes almost like a knee-jerk reaction when you go to do the long jump as a athlete. You do it and you break the record. I hope that clears some of what I'm talking about, or makes sense of it, at least is the way I want to explain it. So the subconscious changes to the experience, not to the instructions. That's kind of what I want to explain here. And hmm. So what shift when people stop overthinking or outthinking themselves? Um, there is less inner conflict when that happens. Um, faster emotional recovery, um, and more clearer intuition, um, in more grounded decision making. Again, because you're not doing that knee jerk reaction of like, oh, I gotta do this now, and when I'm saying that, I'm thinking of like what marketers are doing nowadays, where they have this call to action where they um, pressure people to make a decision within short amount of time to close the deal. You you see clearly to things like that, and I don't know why that's coming up as an example, but I'll just share it. You know, I see that happen a lot in the internet or in the websites where you have like a giant timer that says buy now, like only so many minutes left, or call within the next minutes and you'll get like a free gift or something else. You don't make that. You make more grounded decision making in situations like that when you're not like going with whatever you're going. And just to clarify, the life doesn't become problem free. There's still problems, but you're just looking at them at a different vantage point. You're just um, I would say if life it's like a chess game, you see it from a higher perspective where you have more choices, where you can make a more grounded decision out of having bigger picture. um, and it becomes less internally violent. You're not as violent to yourself um, when you do that, when you start or stop sorry when you stop outthinking yourself in different situations. Again, you're not doing this knee jerk, or even if you press, um, and this is all a whole practice by itself, but it gets there. when that happens, this is what one might experience as a side effect of that. And so the mind was never meant to do its job alone. It's always mind, body, spirit connection. There's the, the mind, subconscious mind, the body with everything. It's just not the job of the mind to run the show the entire time. In in and I see most people taking that as far as they're thinking that their mind, it's their self, and they take it as like, this is me, and in living with the internal narration. um, you don't need better thoughts. um, you need better relationship with awareness. That's how I would say it. um, the subconscious listens when it feels safe. um, and that's kind of a practice all by itself, to be able to feel safe on any day-to-day situations and different things, because different things can make people react um, differently in different situations. But the good news, at least to me, is that you have plenty of opportunities if you take every opportunity you have during the day to learn that as a skill and develop it. Um, you'll have better relationship with your awareness, with self, with body, and you'll be more in peace with the world and everyone in it. Uh, and so, yeah, I would say change happens when um, explanation ends and experience begins. Let's put it that way. The mind explains, the awareness transfers. Some people even say that the mind, it's like the firewall for the awareness or subconscious, or you know. So yeah. Oh, no problem, Gail. I'm glad you commented out. No problem at all. I miss some of your show from time to time. Life happens for everyone, so it's not a big deal. I'm glad you said hello. If you're still watching, I'm glad you're watching. If you want, you can join me next Friday, because you can join now if you like to. I'll bring you in, no problem. I got about 15 more minutes left, so feel free to join if you like. Let me know if you need the link. I'll send you the link and we can chat a little more. As usual, I say that to everyone, in the viewers and everyone, let's have a conversation. If everybody or anybody feels like it wants to jump in and have a conversation and is not camera shy and wants to be online, um, feel free to do so. I'll bring you in. Let's see. And here is Gail. Welcome, Gail. Oh, you're muted. No sound. You're muted. Your microphone doesn't work. Check your mic. Maybe in the bottom. You need to click on it. Thanks, Bonnie. This is why I do what I do. I love to be able to share some thoughts with you guys and talk about things that interest me, and hopefully that'll be your interest too. And we can have a conversation and talk about different things. So I'm glad you enjoy the life. Let's see if Gail fixes her audio. No audio yet, Gail. Click on the little microphone on the bottom, and that'll give you all your audio devices. And if you have the one that you have your headset plugged into, or if you have something else that might be using it, um, disconnect it. If you have your Messenger or Zoom
Is
might be
this where?
using it, and it won't allow for you. Oh, this works. Yes.
Okay, so I had to go to my MacBook. So I'm hearing you through my phones, but I'm talking through my
Oh, okay.
computer.
Oh, that's okay. As long as we can hear you. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And
Woohoo!
Bonnie says hi, Gail.
Hi,
So
Bonnie.
there you go. Yeah. So it's one of those days. I missed last Friday. I kind of fell under the weather a little bit. With all the flu going around. I
Well, I
just
saw that post
had
and I
to.
thought it was today, so I wasn't looking for you. So here we are.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, it works. It works its way out. When it's a line, it's a line. So what's happening in your world?
Oh, well, so I have a book launch coming. That is the back of my book, That Dragon.
Hmm.
Um, almost ready. I have the book cover done. Editing tomorrow. I have some video or some audios to create because I'm doing meditations. And
Mm.
the launch, we're looking at the end of March, middle to the end of March. In the
Mm.
meantime, I'll have been in 2 summits by then,
Wow.
2 in
Okay.
March. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to
Exciting
that.
times.
Yep. Both are international.
Wow.
One will be live and the other will be recorded. I'm doing another smaller summit in a couple of weeks. So, and it's all about energy. And the one that's live in March, oh, Yank, I'll send you a link to come join us because I'm doing the game of life.
Oh.
What is
I'm
it? Who
doing the game.
created it? How
I'm
do you
doing.
play?
I'm doing the game of life every day.
I know you are.
It's so much fun when you mention it. When you sometimes when I catch myself getting too in the game, I step
Mhm.
back and I kind of laugh at myself and I say, "Well, that's the game of life. So let's make it a little more interesting. Let's spice it up. Let's go like woo or whatever, whatever it's happening in that situation. You know." So I have
So
to
I have
remind
a
myself.
new analogy I've been using, and I'll probably use it in that training. Um, when you go to the movies and it
Mhm.
is a thriller, and you're at the edge of your seat, and you're laughing, you're crying, you're excited, you're nervous, you're happy. You walk out and you're exhausted, you're spent, and you say, "Wow, that was awesome." That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
And our soul is going, "This is so amazing. Look at what's going on."
Well, not to the mind. It's not. The mind goes like, "Oh my god, this is horrible."
Until your mind realizes
I
that
know.
it's a game. And then, at least for the most part, I get curious.
Yeah, if you allow the space for it to arise naturally, then you have more and more of that.
Yeah.
You're not as much involved in the thinking and in I was just talking about it. The thoughts are not your thoughts. You Because if they were your thoughts, you could have created them. And you can't predict your thoughts. You can't create the thoughts. You know the thoughts are happening because you're observing the thoughts. Who's observing the thoughts? you know. Um, so mistaking that for something you have control over or whatever, it just throws the whole game off.
Well,
Um,
control is what throws it off,
yeah, yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
more I release control, the more I lean in, the more that I am open, the more control I actually have.
Mm.
Mm.
It's a
It's a
paradox.
paradox.
Yeah. Ah, see, I was just about to say that we're in perfect sync. It's paradox. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
why this is why they say when you know you have it, then you actually truly have it in manifestation mindset. You have to fill in the embodiment that you are that you want. Like maybe you want to be famous or be rich or whatever. When you embody it and you know you have it, um, then the whole game changes because you know you have it. You no longer want it. It's the paradox.
Because it is
And then you
there.
have it, but you no longer want it. And you go like, well, if it was 10 years ago, maybe that's
Yeah,
when you
and,
manifested it, but then it came through later on.
lately, and I mean, like, and I don't mean like the last few days, but like the last few years,
Hmm.
I've really leaned into loving what I get and what I have right now,
Hmm.
right? And beyond being grateful, because all my coaching terms have little air quotes, right?
I
Um,
mean, that keeps evolving and changing as the mind changes
it
and you
does, it
expand.
does, right? And so if the more that I appreciate and again get curious about where I'm at already, more comes.
Hmm.
And I don't even have to ask for things.
Hmm.
These summits, I've got, the 3 that I'm doing this quarter alone. I didn't go after any of them. Not one.
How would you give somebody the tools to do that?
Oh,
To like let go and like how do you get from here to here? Can
I'd
you
have
give
to
an
work with them,
example?
quite frankly. I have to work with them because everyone is unique. So I can't give
I
a pat
know.
answer, but it is
Yeah.
learning.
I ask
Yeah,
anyway. So.
no, it's learning story by story that how you created the story and why. And as you get good at that, the stories no longer matter. They just
Mm,
go away. Like I can tell the horrific things that have happened in my life that we call horrific, and there is no emotion, no attachment. Even triggers, people who say, and again, air quotes, triggers. Um, I create the triggers. You don't create the triggers. You don't trigger me. I trigger me.
yes.
It's my story.
Yes.
So it's not your responsibility not to trigger me. It's my responsibility to clear
Yes.
my mess up.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because every time I say it to somebody, they go like, "What are you talking about? You're pissing me off." And I said, "Well, I'm not inside your body. How can I piss you off? If I was inside your body, I could have done it, but no." And they give me this look and they say, "You're weird. Like, why would you say something like that? You really piss me off." And I say, Again, I'm not inside the body. You're inside. Am I? Who's responsible for this stuff? You
I
are."
can't make you anything,
Exactly.
right? And when I was able to really own that, and I want to say we don't not understand. This doesn't work. So if you understand what we're saying but don't integrate it, then you don't understand,
Mm.
right? Um, I can now look at people who are perpetually angry, perpetually frustrated, who are telling the same story every day over and over and over again, with compassion because
Yes.
they're creating their own suffering.
Again, we're in sync. I was just about to say that. You see somebody suffer and you have that love and compassion because you understand that they're doing it to themselves and they can stop at any time and not hurt
That
themselves
pisses them
in
off when you
change.
say that, right?
Well, I don't say it. I have that understanding and I have that feeling, and I just sit and I smile. And sometimes they think that like I'm making fun or anything. Not like smile like haha, you're whatever, but more of a kind of like understanding of like, yeah, I know, I've been there. It is, you can change it at any time if you want to. And again, it doesn't depends on me or anything. If it's not me, it's going to be something else. The clouds can piss you off because it's cloudy outside. Anything can piss you off, or like, or the damn tree being in the way, not allowing you to do whatever you want, or there's so many examples I can give. But again, I'm being frank with like anybody I talk to, and sometimes it is what it is. Because if they claim into their anxiety and they say my anxiety or my suffering or all
Oh
these
my
other
god, I own
things.
it. This is mine. It's not yours. This is mine. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
hang on to this.
Yeah, it serves me a
Yeah.
purpose. I wanna milk this as much as I can.
Yes,
But
yes, because this gives me meaning. This is a story I understand. This is a story I
mhm,
can hang on to. This is an identity that I can relate to.
mhm,
All of the excuses. Um, Starting this coming week, Tuesday, I belong to a group called Healing Millions. I'm a teacher, and I'm starting with the energy versus force energy levels, and the bottom one I believe is shame.
yeah.
My Sounds like shame would be
I
the
think I
lowest.
think it was shame maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shame. And, I
Guilt,
will be
anger, they keep going.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna start with
Yeah.
shame and, talk about what does it look like? Where is it in your body? What are the things that you could feel, in your heart, but in your body, and what are you damaging? But if anybody wants to alchemize change right then and there, I will do a hot seat with them. And in front of everybody's eyes, we will go through releasing shame and experiencing it for the very last time.
Well, for the people that are watching in a replay, what's the date again, so they can
Oh,
check
well,
you out?
this is next Tuesday, so I'll have to take a look at it. And, where's my calendar? There's my calendar. Is it the 10th? I think it's the 10th. Yes, it's the
Mm,
10th of February. I'll give you the link and you can put it in the show notes if people want to sign up.
perfect.
It is not a free site. Healing Millions does cost, but pop in and then pop out, or I would say check out the amazing trainers that are in there from around the world,
Yeah.
from around the world. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I'm looking for someone to be in the hot seat. And the woman that runs that program, that mission, I was talking to her and I said, I could fall flat on my face. She said, "So what?" I said, "Okay."
I mean, you
And I
take it and
won't.
you run it.
And I won't, because if Yanko, if you came and you said, "I really am wanting I'm done," we will first go through uh, my questions, and if you are ready, your whole body will go yes. If you're not ready, you go
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I
I,
know. You can usually tell by just
Mhm.
having a conversation with somebody. You can tell if they're ready or if they're not ready. If there's still space to milk it, use it more, before they give up. Um, but
Because
yeah,
it's serving them. It's serving them.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I do that with myself too. Sometimes if I go into that, like, seeing the situation and embodying in it, and then I'll have that aha moment. It's like, oh, this is why I didn't want to do it, because this serves me this purpose, so I can do this instead or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah. I was gonna say earlier when we were talking about it that it goes both ways. If the person is, saying, "Oh, you're triggering me," and this and that, and everything, it's like they're having their own reality and their own um, filters or lenses that they're seeing you through. So even you're different to anybody else.
Well, I we're a little bit over, but I'm going to tell you that
Sure.
when we communicate,
Mm,
and I'll do my little NLP spiel. There are 3 billion bits of data around us at any point in time. Billion with a B. I'm not kidding. Your brain, your mind, takes in 750 bits. 3,750,000,000. So you don't know reality from the get-go. Then when you take it in, you categorize it. That's why I don't use the word coach, because you put me in a coach folder, right? And so you have a preconceived idea of what a coach is, right? And then you apply your beliefs, your emotional state, right? And all of your biases to that. And then you construct an image of the story you think you heard. You heard me say the story you think you heard,
mm,
right? And so we're not really communicating, and you're not really listening, because you don't know what's in my head, and I don't know what's in yours. But this is my story, and it's up to me to be aware of my filters and my biases, right? And be aware that if I am reacting, then those are my stories and my biases. Unless you're coming at me with a machete and you really want to kill me, right? Then there's a real fear, and I'm going to run.
but that goes to that story with the monk that, where they were taking the monks, over somewhere in the I don't remember, Himalayas or whatever, that, where it was saying, don't you know, with a one swing I can, put that sword to your body. And then the monk looks at him back and says, don't you know me, without blinking an eye I can put this sword through my body. So it's like touche. It goes both ways. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for joining.
You're
We're running out
welcome.
of time.
Yep,
You
we're out
probably
of
have
time.
other things going on.
I do. I have a meeting at 12.
But she already posted the link in the chat, which will get uploaded to our things. I'll see if I can put it in the show notes.
That'll be good.
Again, people, thanks for spending time with us, vibing, sharing. We'll see you next Friday.
See you next Friday. I'll try to pop on earlier.